If you quit these three unhealthy habits, you will be a millionaire a lot faster. Now, the average millionaire doesn't become a millionaire until around their early 60s, late 50s. But you could become a millionaire a lot faster, a lot sooner, just by eliminating three bad, unhealthy habits from your life. The little things add up to a lot over time, over 10, 20 years. The little pocket change that you waste, that most people waste, on unhealthy things that they don't need anyway, adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars over 10 to 20 year period. And you don't want to be like most people in 10 to 20 years from now saying, I've worked so much, I've worked so many years, where did all my money go? Why don't I have any wealth to show for it? So let's get down to it. The top three things to eliminate so you can become a millionaire a lot faster, and at the very least have a lot more financial freedom and financial security. I mean, let's start with cigarettes and e-cigarettes, vaping, whatever you want to call it. Cigarettes has diminished in popularity a lot within the last few decades, but it's still very prevalent. About 20%, 20 something percent of people still smoke cigarettes and or either vaping / e-cigarettes. And that's an expensive habit. And it's one of the most unhealthy habits you will partake in your life. It's going to take years off your life, or it's going to take years off a good quality of life. You may still live a long time, but it's all about feeling good and having a good quality of life. So it's either going to take years off your life and reduce the quality, and what it's going to do is destroy your wealth building opportunities. So cigarettes and e-cigarettes, they're very expensive. I mean, a lot of people smoke a whole pack a day, which can average around $7 to $8 a day. $7 to $8 a day. You're looking at around, let's just say around $210 a month. A typical smoker may spend on cigarettes. Around $210 a month. If you would invest that over a 20-year period into like an S&P 500 index fund, just consistently investing in the S&P 500 every month, 20 years, that's going to be around $150,000 with an average annual return of around 10%. That's what you can usually expect, around 10% annual return. Some years up, some years are down, but on average, the stock market has always gained over a 20-year period. So you're looking at 150 grand just from quitting smoking. Now, the coffee. This is very popular. Coffee is gaining more and more popularity every year. Around 60 or 70% of the world drinks coffee. No, I'm not going to say quit coffee completely. There are some health benefits to it if, you consume in moderation. But make your coffee at home. I make my coffee at home. And it's almost free when you make it at home. Buy it in bulk, make it at home, and each cup will cost me only like 15 cents a day. Basically free. Versus you see everybody early in the morning or late afternoon driving in those Starbucks and Tim Hortons commercial coffee brand stores, restaurants, spending on average close to $10 a day drinking coffee. They may buy 2 cups of coffee at $5 a pop throughout the day, or they just may buy one of those fancy latte, mocha, sugary concoctions that's around $10 or more. Then you add a donut or a bagel. You're looking at $10 a day a lot of people spend at the coffee shops. Just eliminate that, and make your coffee at home for basically free. So I would say a typical coffee drinker might spend around $300 a month on coffee, on average. It doesn't feel like it, on a day-to-day basis. Little pocket change here and there, but over a month that's $300. So if you smoke and drink coffee, you're looking at $500 a month right there on bad habits. So just the $300 a month alone from the coffee is going to give you around 200 grand a year. I mean, around 200 grand in 20 years. 200 grand in 20 years if you invest that in the S&P 500 index fund, getting around 10% return annually. 200 grand a year. Just from, hey, not going to Starbucks, not going to Tim Hortons. And I like Starbucks stock. If you want to invest in the stock, that would be smarter. Drink your coffee at home and buy the Starbucks stock. Get rich with Starbucks. I mean, back in over the last 20 years, the Starbucks stock has gone up around 2,000%. You would have 20 times your money over the last 20 years if you bought Starbucks stock instead of drinking the coffee. Think like an investor, not a consumer. Because around 2001 or 2000, Starbucks stock was around $4 a share. Now it's at $95 a share 20 years later. It's around 100% return every year. So it's something to think about. But I'm just being conservative. I'm saying if some people are scared of individual stocks, then just throw it into an S&P 500 index fund. So then you have alcohol. Very, very popular. Around 60 to 70% of people drink alcohol. Now I'm just being modest. I'll say an average person may spend around $200 a month on alcohol, average drinker. You got the bottle of wine that a lot of people like to drink at dinner, after work. You have the happy hours people like to go to after work. Then some people, they religiously get a 6-pack of beer every day after work. And then the weekend, clubbing and partying. You could spend the whole $200 on alcohol just in one weekend. So on average, the average drinker probably spends $200 a month, just like the cigarettes. So then you're looking at, if you invest that, you would have about 150 grand in 20 years just from eliminating alcohol from your life. And you don't have to 100% eliminate it. But it should be eliminated on a daily basis. So I say that a typical person should not, well, you should eliminate it. Absolutely. I mean, it's really poison at the end of the day. But if you're going to drink, a typical person doesn't need to drink more than 3 or 4 times a year on a major holiday. If you want to celebrate with family and friends, it's a major holiday. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and maybe 2 more holidays. Maybe 4 times a year, 4 or 5 times a year at the most. That's the only time somebody should really be drinking, is to celebrate a holiday or special occasion. Not just every day after work or every weekend. That's ridiculous. That's going to destroy your health and your wealth. So if someone participates in all 3 of these bad habits on a consistent basis, you're looking at around $500,000, $500,000 within 20 years if that money was invested instead. You'll be healthier and halfway to $1 million just from not blowing your daily pocket change, $10, $20 a day. Don't blow that daily pocket change. You could buy a house for cash in 20 years if that's what you want. Or you could just live off the dividends. That's what I would do. Live off the principal for $500,000. You have $500,000 in a nice dividend portfolio, giving you 5 to 7% return. I mean, you're looking at around 30 grand a year just in passive income. That will go higher every year. That will be raised every year if you have the good dividend stocks. So it's just something to think about. Everyone can become a millionaire if you're just more intentional with your money. Focus on putting your money towards assets that will increase your wealth, not liabilities that will decrease your health. This is Mark Hill. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to check out The Secret to Prosperity, available on Amazon, and wealthmotivation.com for more great content.